Hotline. I'm Monica Weitzel. We're in Gresham at MetroEast Community Media. My guest tonight is Larry Smith, who is not only a volunteer here at MetroEast and longtime producer, but also with Friends of Multnomah County Fair, and that's what you're going to talk about today. Thanks for being here, Larry.
Well, you're welcome.
It's a pleasure to have you. It's a little different having you on the, sitting across from me on the set.
Feels like my first time on television.
Yeah, that was how long ago?
1985,
Wow.
I think, was the first time I appeared out here.
So you do an exercise fitness show,
Right.
And you look exactly like you did back then, and it's a very popular show. Yeah. So but you're a many-faceted person, and you obviously have other interests and talents. And so tell me what you do with Friends of Multnomah County Fair.
Well, for at least 30 years, I've participated bringing exhibits to the fair, and I recently retired from my real job. And so that took away my excuse for not getting on the board, so I was elected to the board of the Friends of Multnomah County Fair last year, and we're the group that puts on the fair.
So you're the ones that do it.
Yes.
You put the whole thing. That's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work for a small amount of volunteers.
I bet. So do you need more volunteers? If people hear about this tonight, are you always looking for volunteers?
Absolutely.
Okay.
There's always a place to plug in some good volunteers.
Now this fair is earlier than most county fairs, isn't it?
Yes.
So the dates of the Multnomah County Fair are the 23rd through 25th?
Coming right up, May 23rd through the 25th, Memorial Day weekend.
Oh, it is that weekend.
Yes.
Oh, well, that's good. That's good. Mm-hmm. And this year it's at Oaks Park?
It's been at Oaks Park since most of the time since about 1998.
Okay, right down on the Willamette River.
Right, in the Selwood area of Portland.
It's a nice park. There's a lot to do there. So tell me a little bit, if you would, about the history of the fair, because it didn't start out there at Oaks Park.
No, the fair was established actually at the turn of the 20th century, and the Gresham area, the Gresham Grange, was the first group that got together and got a group of the other Granges, which was the local farming organization, and decided to put on a fair. Had the first fair in Gresham, and the fair remained in Gresham until I think the late 60s, 1969. Moved to the Expo Center for several years, and now has been at Oaks Park
for quite a while.
So it's 109, is that what our book says? 109th annual Multnomah County Fair.
That's a long time.
That's a long time.
And did it start out mostly as a place for these farmers to show off their wares and compete against each other? Is that how it started?
Indeed it did. It was especially Multnomah County at that point was very highly agricultural. Mm-hmm. Things
especially
have changed.
Out here.
It's still in the outer areas. There's still a lot of agriculture and farming and livestock and things like that. Right. The fair recently, though, has more or less focused on, since it's more of an urban and rural county, depending on where you're from, the focus has changed somewhat. Recently, gardening, home arts, sewing, putting up your own, canning your own pickles and things like that has really come back.
Yeah.
And so we're focusing more on that. And 4-H, for many years, the 4-H is an organization supporting youth. Used to be also agricultural. It has taken on many different forms. And the Oregon State Extension Service supports that. They have come back into Multnomah County a couple of years ago. Good. So the 4-H program is really taking off.
Good. Now you brought some pictures, and I think we should take a look at those just to give people a little flavor of what they can expect at the fair.
Yes.
Okay, what are we looking at here? This is sort of a collage here of there's a ride, which they have at Oaks Park.
Oh yes, at Oaks Park they have the rides. There's the woman holding the bunny. There's a rabbit show coming. There's a little, you can see the baby lion. There is the Walk on the Wild Side exhibit. They are set up to show off different kind of wild animals that have been orphaned out in the wild. Really? And so they use them as an opportunity to take around and show people and kind of educate people about the importance of our wild animals. And there we have displays of exhibits. These are actually my carrots.
Really?
Usually if you start a certain variety of carrots, you can have little tiny carrots by the time of Memorial Day weekend, and I'm the only one that tries it.
Really?
And so I'm usually
So
get the
you
blue
win,
ribbon.
you're the winner.
Yeah, if you can get 3 of them alike.
So that's the key,
Yes,
huh?
the-
Pick the right one to
The
raise.
floral display
Oh,
is
my
just
goodness.
amazing at the fair. We have some Rose Society members come in that bring every type, color, and shape
are
of
beautiful.
rose.
Look
And
at those.
Floral Arranging Guild comes in and makes competition exhibits. Now, I should also mention anyone in the community, you don't even have to be from Multnomah County.
Oh, really?
You can enter exhibits in that fair.
Oh, really?
And there is, of course, a handbook that we have.
The
that-
Treasured Traditions handbook on exhibiting at the
that
fair.
shows about how to exhibit the different in the different categories, and you can enter in floral. We've got also we'll be showing the
quilts.
sewing department, but it's something that anyone can do. There's categories for arts and crafts, photography, people who do paintings, people who cook, all sorts of things like that. So.
If I remember correctly, you had some amazing dahlias that you raised.
Yeah, it's a little early for dahlias
Well, it is,
on
it
Memorial
is,
Day
but
weekend.
you enter
Those
them
will
in
come
other
later.
fairs.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
there's lots of fairs. This is the first fair in Oregon. It
was gonna
kicks
say,
off the
it's,
36 counties in Oregon, 36 county fairs,
Wow.
and Multnomah County is the lead-off fair.
You have here in front of you some ribbons here, and so this is what people are vying for when they are
Yes.
exhibiting. Is that right?
Yes, you can win a blue ribbon with your exhibits, and
show
those
us
that
one of
have the
these.
blue ribbons compete for the special awards. And this is the little assortment that I have
Let me see one of these.
from last year.
These are all yours from last year?
Yes.
So this is Best Annual Floral and Garden,
Yes.
Multnomah County Fair. So you have three of those. Three of those.
Yeah, I've got different kinds. There's best giant vegetable. Not too many people have giant vegetables
Not in May.
this time of year, so
What was it?
I saved some from last year. Normally, I can usually get a giant head of lettuce if I buy a start in a nursery and put it in the ground, and it'll take about 6 weeks to get giant. This year I will have hopefully it doesn't get a rotten spot by then, but a giant, probably over 3 foot long. It's called a tromboncini squash. that
tromboncini?
Wintered over in my basement.
Wow. So you kind of learn the little tricks of the trade here as to how best to get those ribbons, don't you? Oh yeah, I'll winter that over. I'll start that at this time.
Yeah, I've kind
These are
of,
the ones that don't get entered very often, so maybe I'll have a chance.
the first couple of years when we had it this early, there weren't really much of any vegetables, so I started researching and what can you actually grow this time of year, and what can you winter over from last year. And we also added some categories for things like if somebody has a jar of dried beans that they've saved from last year, or just something like that, or if they've dried some peppers, you can show those.
Interesting. That opens it up a lot wider than I would have imagined.
Yeah, we have to kind of adapt to what the conditions are.
That makes sense. Now, there's a lot of other things to do at the fair, and I think you brought a couple videos of some events that happen at the fair.
Yes.
So maybe we can look at those, because those sound really fun. I have not seen these yet. But,
Excellent.
Yeah. So there's all sorts of stuff going on, right? Besides the exhibits.
Oh yeah.
So what are we going to see here?
We're probably eventually going to see the pig races. The pig races have come back after a
I've
couple of
always
years.
wanted to see those. I've never seen those.
Little baby pigs that race for the winner gets an Oreo cookie.
That's what they're racing for.
And the ones who don't win get a piece of Oreo, so they stay interested.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Oreos. So who came up with that idea?
I don't know, but apparently little piglets love
Love
Oreos.
Well, I love them too. So that's hilarious. And besides the pig races, what other things are going on at the fair?
There's the Professor Bamboozle show. He's like a magician performer. He comes on and the kids just absolutely love him. There's a kind of a barnyard where kids play in big piles of corn seed and play with potatoes and things like that so they can get their hands in the dirt. There's a talent show that goes on. I believe that's on Saturday afternoon of the fair, where they have different, you can win big cash prizes. So
really?
if there's anybody out there who's interested in the talent show, check our website and you can find information of how to enter.
Nice, that'd be fun. So if we have that video, I'd like to see those pigs, because that would be one of my favorite parts. So let's see if we can get that up here.
This one goes on the bell. There's the bell, and they are off! the track. And Elliott cuts through the gap, disqualifying himself. Looks like Kermit the Hog is waiting, coming on the backstretch. Almost no one can touch him, zipping down that backstretch. And Kermit the Hog takes the win. First round of competition on the way. These guys are eager, chomping at the bit, and pushing at the gates out here. On your marks. Get set, and go! And they are off! Turn around track. It looks like David Hasselhoff and Kevin Bacon are coming around the turn. Kermit the Hog trying to play to catch up, but he kept behind Kevin Bacon coming on the back. And Kevin Bacon takes the win.
Those are great.
Well, the competitive career of a racing pig is relatively short. I hear it's about 6 weeks because they get big real fast and they lose interest. Not
They
even
get
for an
lazy.
Oreo, yeah.
Not even for an Oreo, huh?
But they're easy to train.
Yeah, well, they're smart animals, right? They're supposed to be smart.
For a cookie, I might run hurdles.
Well, maybe we'll see you in there then. race you for an Oreo. What's your favorite part of the fair?
That's a really hard question because I like the whole thing. Of course, you know, at Oaks Park, you've got all the traditional rides. A lot of people love the rides. You've got the cotton candy, you've got the food booths.
You've got a skating rink there too, for heaven's sake.
Absolutely, the skating rink. There's demonstrations in the building if you want to learn more about quilting or just any sort of thing like that. But I think I would have to say this year it would have to be the 4-H program making a big comeback because that really is a good program for keeping kids interested and busy. And
I did 4-H sewing when I was a kid. Yeah.
And the more everybody that has ever entered, and this is absolutely true for the 4-H kids that brings an exhibit, have said that the more involved they get in actually participating in the fair, the more it means to them when they actually take things to it. And it's so easy to do. And even if you don't win first place, it's like you're participating in a community event, providing a community service.
That's a really good point, Larry, because you're educating people as to all these things that you can do and things that people can make and get involved in, but it's also validating what you've done. It's like, yes, you did a good job. Yes, I like that. I think more kids should be involved in things like that.
And this year the entries will go in on Thursday, May 21st from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Just go to Oaks Park.
And so do you have to register this all ahead of time?
Or you just come in. Whatever comes in is displayed, and then we're happy to get it.
I may have to look at that little handbook later and
Absolutely.
see what can I possibly display. So there's a wide variety.
It's all on the website too, multnomahcountyfair.org.
Okay, so this is it's May 23rd through the 25th.
Right.
Noon to 7 p.m. at Oaks Park. And you'll be there?
I will absolutely be there.
You'll be there the whole time?
Pretty much.
So
apparently the board members are required to be on site.
I think that's appropriate. Somebody's got to be there to make sure it's all what you claimed it was going to be. Mm-hmm. So we'll look forward to that, Larry, and we'll see if you're doing a good job on the board. And and if not, his name is Larry Smith, so check it out.
I know.
No, we're looking forward to it. And we'll look forward to seeing you back on camera next time doing your exercises.
Thank you, Monica.
Thanks so much for watching this segment of Community Hotline. Do check out the Multnomah County Fair. I think those racing pigs look pretty fun, and you may even see Larry racing for an Oreo. Otherwise, we'll see you here soon for the next segment of Community Hotline. Don't go away.
about community media is how people find their voice and tell their story.
It's the message of, by, and for a community.
We're a gathering place because it gets people of all sorts of different backgrounds underneath one roof.
It's art, it's technology.
A snapshot of our community.
Going live.
In 3, 2, 1.
How would I do a commercial to help stop child abuse? I would start by telling the world that I know the pain of abuse. Then I would say something really creative that would inspire people to do something to stop it. And I would end on a hopeful note about how they can make a difference and keep kids like me safe.
Help stop child abuse. Call or find us online. The Children's Center, a place where healing begins.